Hi, and welcome to Vintage Camper Trailers Online Bootcamp Summit. Welcome to my class on how to plan a rally. I'm excited to be here with you today and share some of my tips with you about how to plan a rally. We've been doing rallies for a while, and one of our things is rally till you drop. And I'll show you a few pages that may give you why we say till you drop, but rallies are a lifestyle. They are just super fun, such a way to get together with friends and connect, and really powerful in our society that is so disconnected. This really gives people an opportunity to be together. So buckle up and welcome, and hopefully I can share some tips so you can plan your own rally. So Paul and I have been doing this for over 13 years, which is really hard to imagine. And time flies. I was getting pictures ready for this presentation and going back to when our kids were just itty bitty. And it's just pretty amazing how times have changed. So I thought I'd give you a little history on why people ask me about planning rallies and how we got started. In 2012, we had kind of been introduced to the vintage camper trailer world, and we're camping, and we thought, oh, it would be fun to go do something with some friends. And down in Lodi, about an hour and a half from where we're at, they had a Tiki Fest that year at I guess it was the KOA back then. And we called the manager and said, can we have a group together and come and join what you're doing at the campground? And that's how we started. We had 12 trailers, which is pretty amazing. So every year, we didn't have a sticker in 2012 because it wasn't really an event, but every year since then, we've made a sticker for the different events. And you can kind of see how we have progressed. We started in 2012 and did one rally a year for 4 years. And I was homeschooling at the time and teaching the kids and super busy. And Paul would say, we need to do something more. And I was like, no way. And I said 2 rallies at the most. I don't want to do any more than 2 rallies. And you can see how long that lasted as we go through the years. We started boot camp in 2016, which is what this is today. It was an in-person for many, many years, and now we're going to try it online for the first time, and we're super excited about that. But it started in Sacramento, and you can see locations. We started in Lodi, we did boot camp in Sacramento, we've done it in Hollister for years, and campgrounds change, life changes. So when I wrote all of this down, it was pretty exciting to me to see how can how the same but different things really are when you're planning rallies. We've had to change locations, we've had to change campgrounds, and yet the core of what we do is still the same. So pretty fun. Now look at this year, 2024, from Florida to Texas to all over California, online summits. This business has really grown and just opened so many doors for us. So thanks for joining us. Okay, so type of rally. When you're going to plan a rally, you really need to figure out what kind of rally do you want. Do you just want a friends and family, like we started with just 12 trailers, and we were just together and we planned a little meal together and we went and did activities together, and it was just a camp out. There's everything from that to campouts where you have no events, nothing planned, and people just are in the same place and kind of get together on their own if they want to do anything in particular. Then you have trailer specific rallies, maybe an aristocrat trailers. There's just an aristocrat anonymous event where it was just aristocrat trailers, or Spartan Rally is always a big one where they always have just for Spartan trailers. And so you could do those kind of events. You also have your big trailer fest type of events, which is what Paul and I have been doing for the last 12 years. And those are an event. Um, Paul always tries to explain to people, if you were going to go to a music event, you would go and you would buy a ticket and you would go and you would experience all they had to offer. And that is kind of what Trailer Fest is all about. Those kind of events usually include music, food, um, some kind of class, some kind of training. So it's really more of a 3 or 4 day planned activities, almost like adult camping. So there's all of those different types of rallies, and so each kind of rally is going to have a little different um, requirements depending on what you want to do. So once you've decided what kind of camp out, what kind of event you want to do, the next thing you have to attack is your location. And you saw our list. We've done everything from Florida and Texas to beach to South Lake Tahoe to out in the middle of nowhere where we do events. And we have learned that the best locations are for us are locations that have a draw to them. So Pismo Beach is really enticing because there's so much to do already in Pismo Beach. We're really excited about South Lake Tahoe. It's a destination location. So that's great if you can find those possibilities to go to those places. However, we are not the only ones that want to be there. So sometimes the cost and the availability, you really have to work with management to figure that out, depending on how many people you want to bring, how big you want your rally to be, what time of year. Um, we have found that here in California, and I know you guys in the Midwest and on the East Coast have different seasons than we do, but we have found for vintage camper trailers that we do best with events in April and May. The rain has kind of stopped and it's not super hot. July, August, super hot usually here in California. So then we start doing events September, October, November. Those are kind of our sweet times for camping in California. That's also a time when a lot of people have gone back to school. There's not so much demand, and so the campgrounds are usually more willing to work with us a little bit on the cost. So location, location, location. Amenities was on there. Every campground is different. Some campgrounds have, like this picture here shows a beautiful meeting room with lots of tables and chairs, and obviously very easy to accommodate breakfast or potlucks or whatever we're choosing to do in that room. It's a nice big indoor room. Some campgrounds don't have any indoor facilities. Sometimes they have kitchens, sometimes they'll have a dance floor, sometimes they'll have a bingo lounge. It really depends on the location and what they have to offer. So outdoor meeting spaces, you could have fire pits. A lot of times campgrounds will have a group fire pit or a campsite, pools, tents. And if you are going to plan on hosting a rally, you really need to go and look at the location, talk to the campground, and get to see what that campground has to offer. Because trying to put a square peg in a round hole is just not going to work. If they do not, when we first started, we wanted to have a dance floor, and the campground we were in did not have a dance floor. So my husband, being so energetic, built a stage. Holy Moses. We did that once. We'll never do it again. And those are things you learn, and passion and excitement are what build something. And so we're so glad that we did those things, but we've learned not to push it. If it doesn't have the right amenities to do a dance, or to have pancakes underneath a tent, or we'll shift, we'll change, and we'll change our plans to what the campground does offer. And that came with time, learning that. So I'm giving you that pro tip: go to the campground, look around, see what they have to offer. The next part of hosting a rally are reservations. Now, this is where I spend most of my time helping, and it goes both ways. So I'm going to give you a definition here real quick. Group reservation. When you have a group reservation, you when you have a group reservation, you are going to go to the campground that you want to do it for, and you are going to say, I am responsible to sell X amount of sites, and I will take those reservations. I will give you the people's names and where I want them to be, and I will pay you in one lump sum. And that works for me. That's how I like to do group reservations. That's how I like to do our rallies, because I have control, and maybe I'm a control person, maybe just a little bit. But it gives me the most assurance that what I'm doing is going to be is going to be really useful. And I'll explain that, because oops, I'm going to my slideshow. Here we go. To a point, when we first started, we said we'll take X amount of sites, and I put people in the sites, and then at the very end, I had a half a dozen people cancel, which you will always have cancellations, and I'll talk about that later. But I didn't realize that. And so the next day, I'll show you. The next day, we were there on a Thursday, and the people had canceled. We were all camping, and there were these few holes in our event. And when I woke up, there was this massive sleeping bus. It was a double-decker bus. It had compartments where people slept in it. I've never seen, since that day, I've never seen another one, but it was a touring bus from Germany, and they had pulled in, and there were over like 30 sleeping compartments, and it was just full of all these tourists. And we wake up, and this bus is in the middle of our event, and I'm like, okay, something's got to give. We can't have an event and then have something like that just show up in the middle of it. So that's why I like the pro, because I have control of those sites when I do a group reservation. It does require that you get a written contract with the park for the sites and how much money you're going to spend. And the reason I say that is because um, park managers quit or move on, or it's a very fluid job opportunities. So we always have in writing what the park has agreed to for payment and for sites. Otherwise, you could go and say, well, the park said it was going to be $95 a night. And they're like, well, we have no record of any of that. So good luck, so that is a little bit tricky in that way. So make sure you get the written contract um, and your agreed upon price in writing. Now, the cons to this is that it is a lot of money if depending on the size of rally you're going to host, and you are holding people's money and paying the park for them to attend. And when I was 22 years old, I started teaching, and I didn't make very much money. And now I've started doing these events, and I write checks for more than I made my first several years of work. And so it's just, you have a big responsibility, and I always think of it as not my money. This is not my money. This belongs to the people that are trusting me to provide them with an experience. That brings us to the next con, which is people canceling. And I have a whole thing on cancellations, which we'll go over next. So we'll skip that, but be aware. I prefer to do it this way. It is a lot of responsibility. It does require you to sit down and put people together and kind of look at where they belong. It does take time, but in my experience, it has made for better events. The other way you can do it is if you don't want to do it that way and you're okay with people being wherever they are, you can do individual reservations. You can contact the park and say, I have some vintage camper trailer people. We're going to meet here and we're going to hang out for this weekend. And then tell your people, call the park, make your reservations. The pros are you are not responsible for cancellations or changes. If they cancel, they have to call the park. They deal with their own money. It's all on them. The cons, you have no control over the sites. We actually did this with a park this last year, and no matter how much we told them we wanted to be together, when people call and register, they would say, I want this site or that site. So we were together, but we were spread out. And it was pretty interesting because together but not together. And we have found that really it does so much better when you are right next to each other. So that's a con. And you have to be in touch constantly with the park to know how many people are coming. So if you're planning on breakfast or you're planning on different things, you have to be in pretty close contact with the park to make sure that you guys are both on the same page. Okay, this is the part that nobody really enjoys. That's the rally fees and what you want to do with it. Took me a long time to realize that for me, this is my part of being in our situation. We are a business, and I spend hours and hours and hours doing this, and so you have to account for that. But it's also very important that you are detail oriented and that you are willing to look at numbers, look at what everything costs, budget it, and then divide that up and decide what you're going to charge for a rally fee. I have our budget spreadsheet. I'll kind of show you. It's at the end. It's in one of our resources, but it kind of shows you how to do that. And every rally we have ever been to, there are always incidentals. So don't discount that. One year, I think it was the Christmas in the Trailer Park event, we went and bought half a dozen pop-ups because it was boring. I mean, it just rained and rained and rained, and we needed some cover. And so, as hosts, we provided the cover. And so, those are things that you have to, it's the best of your ability, add a little bit so that you're not holding the whole thing whenever something comes down, because it can be expensive. Um, Here we go. This is my budget for planning a pancake breakfast. And you can see a picture of our pancake breakfast there, and you can see kind of what I do. I have a list of everything that I need to do a pancake breakfast, where we buy it, how much for 50 people, and the cost per 50 person for the servings of 50 people. And in the last 2 years, the cost has gone way up. So you have to be willing to adjust and look. And I probably go shopping 4 or 5 times per rally. Paul would like me to do it in one trip, but I never seem to be able to do that. So these budgets and shopping lists and are just vital for me to get everything we need to get things done. Otherwise, I am just absolutely lost being ready to do that. So, cancellations. Here we go. I Cancellations take up the most time for me, besides putting people where I want them to be. The last 2 or 3 weeks before an event, we will get several, maybe a dozen cancellations depending on the size of event. I get it. People have things that come up. Aunt Josie broke a toe, their kid has an emergency. So every rally you're going to have cancellations. It is not a question if, it is a question of how you are going to handle it. If you want to have a successful event, my number one tip for you is to have a cancellation policy and stick to it. Have the cancellation policy before you sell tickets to your event, before you go into the event. Have your cancellation policy done. I'm going to show you ours. We have it on our website. It tells a little bit about why we started, how we do it. It says we, and by we, I mean Caroline spends countless hours organizing special requests, which I do, which is what I love to do. But um, it's a job. It does take a lot of effort. And so we have it all written out, what we charge for cancellations, when we'll refund if you cancel within the last 2 weeks of an event. We don't offer a refund. And the main reason why is because we've paid the park. We have an event in September. It has to be paid in full by August. We have an event the first week of September. It's paid for. And that money's already been gone. So when you have a cancellation, that money's already been spent. And as a host, I can't, maybe you can, but I can't afford 10 people at $300 a person, demanding a refund when I've already spent that $3,000. That's gone. And so if you're upfront beforehand, I have found that people really are understanding about why and what it is, and what that means. But you've got to post it. You've got to make it clear. This is kind of cute. Transaction fees, 3%. You're paying. I pay that on every credit card transaction. Banking fees. If If I deposit too many checks, they charge me a fee. If I go over the deposit limit, they charge me a fee. The cost for checks, when I write refunds out with checks, you have to replace those. That's not free. You know, a stamp is 73 cents. When we started this, it was under 50 cents. It's gone up. You have to take into consideration all of these things that go into why you have a cancellation fee. The biggest one for me is time. I have to talk to the person that's canceling. I have to change my reservations with the park. I have to find the next person and call them to get the next person to fill that site. If I have a waiting list, I have to pay to process the next payment. So all of those things add into why we have a cancellation fee. And like I said earlier, payment to the park is required before an event 99% of the time. So decide how to handle and print your cancellation policy wherever you're going to do it. So, yeah, that's a big one. That's a really big one to make sure that you do that. Now, here comes the fun part. Now, this is the part. You have your contact with the park, you have your location, you have what you're going to charge, you have your cancellation policy decided, you've gone through and you've made a budget, you've looked at all of your things, and now this is the fun part. And I probably should have put themes before activities, but I love the activities, so I did it first. Activities are the fun part. You can see I have some documents in our resource page at the bottom, and I list all kinds of activities that we have done over the years or participated in over the years, and it's pretty amazing how creative our group is and how willing people are to teach and to participate. Nancy makes these rocks and they're just fantastic. So there's been rock painting, there's karaoke. This is a karaoke event that our friends were in. Pretty amazing as well. Tea parties, ice cream. You know, Rick and Martha always do the ice cream, and uh, it's just cookie decorating, just so many activities. Bingo is another favorite activity, and it can really go with the theme. We had Christmas in the trailer park, so all of my bingo prizes were around Christmas. So that made it really funny and special and interactive. And then in the top right, we were at another event where they did flamingo bingo. So they had a lot of flamingo type prizes. And so that was really fun to go with the theme. This is my now 22-year-old son who's in the Navy. But when he was a little boy, he would call bingo. And these activities just bring you together and make you part of the community. And that's really, truly why we do this. Without the rallies, the trailers are just objects. But when we camp together, you get to know people, you get to have these emotional connections. When you're living with someone for a few days, it is very revealing of who you are. And I will tell you that our group is amazing. They are kind, they are funny, they are willing to pitch in, they're willing to share their expertise, like the cookie decorator. She owns a store and she brought all the stuff and did the cookie decorating just to make that connection with people. And so that's why the activities are so important and so fun. And it's great to look back and see how the kids have grown. This was a s'mores activity, arts and crafts, decorating little dioramas on pumpkins with things that you collect at the park. There's just a bazillion things, and it's just an amazing. And the number one goal in doing this again is community and connection. It really doesn't matter what you do, just do it and people will join in and laugh and have a great time. You can see in this picture with the flags, this was a historic event at the Airstream out in Ohio. They recreated the closing ceremony from the Around the World trailer event where they all walked under the flags that they had visited. And so the Airstream group, the Vintage Airstream group, recreated that, and it was really special. And the thing that's so amazing to me is if you look at the Trailer Fest, and we had two people come up with the same exact costume for the Golden Age of Hollywood. And I don't even remember the whole, I will confess, I am not very good with TV and the likes. I didn't grow up with TV, so I can't remember what they were, but we have two gals there dressed up as a curtain. I believe it was something with with I'm not even going to say because I'll just show my lack of knowledge, but our people are super creative and willing to experience and do whatever. Oh, there's my Grace, who is now in college, and our dog and me in pajamas. Isn't that a nice memory to remember? But pajama parades, tiki events, themes brings us to themes. My husband is a genius and creative and just absolutely the one behind the themes. He is always thinking about how to make things better and more interactive, and so more people can enjoy them. And so in this event right here, we had a corn theme. I guess if corn can be a theme, we had cornhole tournament. We had a corn potluck where the main theme was everybody bring something with corn, and it works. 1980s. This was obviously the 70s, I think. I can't remember the theme, but these are some of the things. When you have a theme, if you can go back to the same campground, that's amazing. You're not always able to, but sometimes you can. And when you have that theme and it changes every year, it keeps things fresh and exciting, keeps people coming back, keeps them interactive, keeps them dressing up, bringing things. Popcorn theme at one of our Pismo at a popcorn potluck. This year in San Dimas we did British invasion, so someone brought their cutout of the Queen, and we had an amazing potluck event. Prom, look at that, Cliff and Sharon in their prom best, and it's just really fun to come up with a theme where people can dress up. Look at these hippies. It's just super exciting. I look back at these people, and we've been camping together now for over a dozen years, and they just keep coming back. Look, they love, adults love to dress up. I guess that's the core. So give them something to dress up for. That makes it exciting and fun. And country fair. I have a list of all kinds of themes in the resource section of our at the end of this, in the resource section, that you can go and list, you can go and print out. Potlucks, we've made a decision to do the potluck on the first night, and this is strategic. Our trailers are little and old, and so we always think the potlucks are best served on the first night. More opportunity for the food to be safe, and for everybody to bring something and get it out of their trailer, so they're not trying to keep it fresh all weekend. So we do it usually the first night of the rally, and we have found we pick a theme and people go wild. If you don't have a theme or give direction, people will bring chips and tangerines, and no one will have anything to eat. So give direction, direction, direction. People want it, and you will just be, we have never been disappointed with what people have done when we give a theme. It is just fantastic. It is also been a big thing for us is that we have decided, maybe from bad experiences at potlucks that weren't so great, we always add to the main course. So if there's a protein, we'll, like last year at the British invasion, I did several corned beef and cabbage, and just to add an additional bit to the potluck to make sure everybody is getting something good to eat. Consider how to make more lines so the first 5 people don't have a pile of food and the last 5 people have nothing. And um, separate the tables, like we do dessert in one section, and we do that so that if people want to go get dessert first, they get first dibs on dessert, but the people that want the main course first, they can go through that line first. It kind of just breaks things up and makes things a little bit nicer for everybody, and the lines aren't so long. um, Snacks, whenever we have our music night or we have anything, we try to do snacks around the theme. Again, there's Angelo making cotton candy for our um, carnival event, and it was a mess. That boy had cotton candy from head to toe, and the more themes, the better. Resources. I'm going to wrap this up so you don't have to continue to listen to me. But we have been doing this. We are willing and want to help you. Absolutely want to help you make your rally successful. We don't feel like rallies are a competition. If you want to do a rally, we want to help you make it the best for you, because the more people that can get involved in our hobby, the more people um, will stick around and continue to make this hobby what it is. So here you go, over here on our website, we at vintagecampertrailers.com, we have a whole section where you can list your rally. Please go on, list your rally, tell us when it is. If you're looking for rallies, people can look it up and see, I want to go to a Texas in, or I want to go to a rally in Texas. They can type that in and it will come up. If you have a club and you want to register your club, same thing, come to Vintage Camper Trailers, put it on there so we can let the masses know where you are and how to get in touch with you. Our Trailerfest rally, that's where we had the cancellation. We have tons of pictures and just past resources on there. So if you ever want to go on trailerfestrally.com, look through it, you can see all of the different things that we have done. There's so many upcoming rallies, past rallies, pictures. It's just kind of inspirational if you need anything that you would like to do. I think I think the last thing is check the resources, call me. I'm happy to answer questions. One thing I didn't touch on that's in the resources is insurance. We have personal insurance, but we also always take out event insurance. And we're happy to share with you where we get that and how we do that. Um, have fun. Start small, have fun, be organized, make a budget, make a list, check it off, and forgive yourself. I used to get in a lot of trouble for forgetting stuff. And then with myself, I hate forgetting things, but I've realized that every single rally, no matter how many check sheets I have, how many shopping lists I make, no matter how much I do, I'm going to forget something. And 99% of the time, people in the park have it. And if they don't, you can either live without it usually, or you go get what you need. Like the year we had to buy pop-ups, and I've gone to the store to buy knives and can openers, the can openers. Oh my goodness. So make it work, have a good time. If you have any questions, call me. And I hope it's inspirational to you to get started and do it. It is about community, it's about fun. In my picture, you can see right behind me all of my 3-ring notebooks. Those are for every event that I have this year, has its own separate notebook, and I keep everything for that event into one place. If you start doing multiple events, that has been very helpful for me. And remember why we do it. We do it for our friends. We do it to build memories. And this this vintage trailer group is amazing, and they want to participate. They want to help. They want to be part of it. So encourage that and walk beside them to do that. Give us a call, and thanks for joining me.